Welcome back to the No Ceilings podcast for part two of our summer league recap. In case you missed it, in part one, Rucker and I went through and gave our kind of reactions to the rookies, and by rookies I mean the guys from the 2023 draft. So in this episode, we will be talking about Chet Holmgren and many more, but this whole episode is part one. If you're looking for just the rookie reactions, after you hang out with us for a bit here, go back and check out part one. Rucker, let's just dive into it. I think one of the biggest returners, or the most impressive returners that we need to talk about right away, is Jabari Smith Jr.
Yeah, I'm more excited about part two. I'm not going to lie. I really get excited about the rookies, but the reason I get pumped for Summer League is to see who's been working on their game after the rookie year last year, who's improved, who looks like they're about to take the next step. And holy crap, Jabari Smith Jr. of the Houston Rockets. I mean, if you're a Rockets fan, I know you've been really pumped about him. I know Jalen Green's getting all the attention. Jabari looks like he is on a perfect developmental path, and it's like frustrating me that more people don't see this. Like, he had the growing pains the rookie year. Second half of the rookie year started to really play really strong, finish good. I was like, oh, there's the confidence boost that you want going into the offseason. And then he comes to Summer League. That first game, me and you were sitting there, and he had I think he didn't even score in the first quarter.
Yeah.
And went on an absolute warpath for 3 quarters. And I just looked up and I was like, oh my goodness, it's happening. So I thought he looked great in person. I thought he looks fantastic in the other game too. What did you think, Metcalf?
It looks like his name should be Jabari Too Good for Summer League Smith.
Gosh, that hurt. That really hurt.
All right.
That was terrible. That was terrible, but it was good. It was good.
It's the development that you exactly want to see, because the shooting numbers weren't what you wanted as a rookie coming out of, compared to what they were at Auburn, because he was absurd at Auburn and he struggled and all that stuff. And there were people ragging on him about the handle, and sure. But the handle looks like it's improved. It's not like he's some dynamic on-ball creator now, but there were, especially in that Pistons game, there were a couple of possessions where he took James Wiseman off the dribble and would cross over, drive middle, spin back to his left, and hit a 15, 18-foot fadeaway over a decent contest. And it's like, oh my God, was that smooth? And it's like, yeah, when it goes in, it always looks better. But the whole process of how he flowed into it, from being on the wing, attacking the free throw line, spinning back into the mid-range, it was fluid. It was really, really exciting. And so much of what he did is like, oh, this is new. This is a different mentality. You're more aggressive. You're getting to the line a million times a game. You're rebounding. You're showing some passing flashes that weren't always there. You're showing some on-ball creation, some mid-range pull-ups, some outside shooting, some work in the low post. It's like, oh my God, the way that his overall scoring game seems to have jumped is really, really exciting and important for this Rockets team going into next year.
The thing that stood out to me the most was, even in the first quarter, I was watching Jabari. Like, obviously we were excited to see a man and Scoot and all that stuff, but I was so pumped up to see Jabari because I was like, are you going to float to the 3-point line again? Like, I always know that Jabari's outside shot's going to be there, but I was like, the next step I would want to see is you looking to create a mid-range game. Like, he has the potential to be a headache of a assignment for defenders, because all of a sudden he get the ball in the mid-range, turn around, and he has the high release, and he should be, Kevin Garnett made a career off of that move, where it's just simple, like up, face up, boom, 15-footer. And the first quarter, he kept taking them, and he missed a couple, but I was like, uh-oh, if he's at least trying this, he's been grinding on this. And then I've watched everything, and I'm so impressed with the 3 ball is there. Now the mid-range game's there. He's taking people off the defense, off the dribble. It just looks like a monster is being kind of unleashed a little bit. Like, uh-oh, here we go. I had to look at these stats just because of comedy's sake. So I'm going to read them real quick and then let Metcalf go back to you. So he played 2 games in last year's summer league. He played 2 games in this year's summer league. Last year, he averaged 15, 11, 2 assists a game, half a steal, 1.5 blocks. Here's where we have some fun. Shooting splits 39, 11, and 77. He took 14 field goal attempts a game, 9.5 2-pointers, 4.5 3-point shots, and 4.5 free throw attempts per game. This year, 2 games, 35.5 points per game, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, half a steal, 1 block, shooting splits of 50, 35, 85, 21 field goal attempts a game, 12.5 2-pointers, 8.5 3-pointers, 13.5 free throw attempts. Like, it's just awesome. He had that mentality of like, I'm either putting the ball in the basket from all over, I'm putting it down and getting to the line, I'm finishing with force. Jabari is like, it's a dream. If you're a Rockets fan, I know you're excited about Jalen Green. I know you're excited about Mann. This is the guy. Is developing perfectly. Like, I was just so intrigued, and I'm pumped up about it.
Yeah, as you should be, because he's finally starting to look like that top 3 pick that we all thought he was going to be and had the potential to grow into. The game just looks so much slower for him, where he's dissecting it with ease. He's reading and reacting. He knows where to be, when to be there, where the ball's going, when it's going to get there, and how he can either disrupt it or bolster it. And it's exactly what you want to see from your top guy. And now you look at that team and you add in the rim pressure and playmaking of Amen Thompson, the seasoned point guard play of Fred VanVleet, the defense of Dylan Brooks, and then you imagine putting Jabari next to those guys, along with Jalen Green, along with Şengün, along with Tari Eason, who we'll get to here in a second. It's like, along with Cam Whitmore, it's like there's so much athleticism and offensive potential for this team, and the ball should be moving all over the place this year.
Yes.
If guys are constantly sticking with it on the perimeter, they got to get pulled. Their minutes are going to go down. The ball movement, the player movement, the shot selection should be really good for this Rockets team. There's no excuse for the offense that we've seen them have in the past couple of years, where Jalen Green and Kevin Porter Jr. just ISO and ice everyone out and try and get their own thing and don't move the ball and don't get the right shots going. There's no excuse for that now, because there are so many different options on this team now who can do a whole lot of different stuff on offense. It's really, really exciting for Houston fans.
Yeah, I absolutely just think you should be pumped out of your mind. I know Rockets fans are going to be bummed that they only got to see 1 game from Mann, but this is probably the biggest development of Summer League. I mean, he looked like a force. He looked like a sophomore breakout is happening, and that's something that really makes Houston dangerous. And it's not just the small sample, it's the shots he was taking.
Yeah,
it's
they're tough shots.
It's the complete shift of focus on the offensive side of the ball, of being like, now I know where I can get to. Now I know the game is slowing down, like Metcalf said. And I just think this is where you could get cooking. Like him and Şengün, I'd be very excited for years to come with that too. Like, Jabari's gonna be tough. This is gonna be a really tough player if he has that understanding with the mid range of when to put it down. Like, he had a drive, I think it was on Wiseman, where he drove right and finished like underneath on the left with contact. It looked like a damn shooting guard. And I was like, if he's doing this stuff, like, it's just great feel. And the 3-point shot was there. Like, he's still spacing the floor, but I just love what I've seen from him. And I think he's more rounded offensively. Like, there's even some playmaking stuff. So just looks great.
Yeah, he's no longer just that 6'10" catch and shoot guy. Yeah. It's like, oh, nope, if you close out hard, he's going to take you off the dribble. If he catches on the elbow, he has a handful of moves that he can kind of go to get to his spot to punish you. It's like, it's a really, like you said, well-rounded offensive game now, where it's not just a one-trick pony, where it's like, oh, he's a really good shooter at 6'10", tough to contest, but as long as I get into space, we can kind of take him out of things. Now it's like, oh, he has a bevy of moves that he can kind of get into and punish us. let's talk about his teammate Tari Eason, who has also looked exceptional. I believe he's averaging 23 points, 9.5 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, 3 blocks. He looks really good.
There was, there's always been buzz about Tari, and some are like, hey, is this a name that's cooling off with that organization and blah, blah, blah. And I got to a point where I think during one of the games, I was like, I think I turned to you or Corey, and I was like, I said, how the hell is a Udoka not going to play him? Like, this is a perfect player for Udoka. They'd just be like a defensive Swiss Army knife that plays with his head cut off. And I mean that in a great way of just like, he plays hard. Whatever background stuff there has been about Tari Eason, I'm watching him at Summer League the last 2 years. I've watched him flash on the court throughout his rookie year. I would not rule out he gets minutes because he plays his ass off defensively. He should. Like, Udoka will play someone that he's like, I don't care. He's going to play how I want to play. He's going to play with an edge. I think he's done a great job of cementing himself as like, hey, I deserve to be in the conversation for minutes. They've got a lot of really interesting decisions to make with that rotation. But I thought it was another great Summer League from Tari. I really did. I thought he was going to look good. I just like it looked like another step forward. And, obviously Houston did too. They shut both of those guys down pretty early. They deserve to get shut down early. And it's going to be interesting to see. What about you? What do you think?
I mean, so there are questions of, is he going to get minutes? But it's like, who's restricting him from getting minutes in the first place? And you just think about their main pieces right now. And, Sengun is one of them. And he's not a good defensive center. He's an absolutely brilliant offensive player, but he hasn't been the defensive player that you want at the center position. What's a great way to counteract that is putting 3 plus size, incredibly athletic and versatile defenders on the perimeter. Dillon Brooks, Jabari Smith, Tari Eason. That's a great way to cover up any warts with Sengun. And with Tari Eason being that kind of athletic low man rim protector, you can have Sengun pressure up and play a little more at the level in the pick and roll, and then have Tari roam that baseline and be that weak side rim protector. And he's proving the Summer League that he can block the crap out of the ball. Why not do that again? His entire time at LSU, his block and steal rates were through the roof because he gambled a ton, but they were really measured gambles, and they were really there's a lot of instinctual defensive playmaking going on there. I think he has the tools to do that in the pros, and I don't see why he wouldn't, maybe not start, but be the sixth man, like get 25, 30 minutes a game. I mean, looking at their forward rotation, like should play over Darius Days. Dillon Brooks will probably start. That's fine. Jeff Green is more there for a locker room presence. Frank Kaminsky, no. Then you got Sengun, Jabari Smith at the power forward. Jae'Sean Tate is fine, but is he really outplaying Tari Eason? Does he really provide more upside and versatility on both ends than Tari Eason? I don't think so. Then you have
Cam I know Whitmore. They love Jae'Sean, but
Jae'Sean's a great rotation guy, but
Eason should be hunting for that role.
Well,
that
especially should be what if the shot is what it looks like.
Yes.
Jae'Sean's shot hasn't gotten there. I think Jae'Sean is an incredible developmental and work ethic story. He's turned into a really good rotation 100%. Guy. This isn't to dog Jae'Sean necessarily because he's going to get minutes and he's probably going to be a guy that Ime loves. But Tari provides a lot of that same defense and more on the offensive end. I just don't see why in what world with this roster that they have that he's not a top 7 rotation guy.
Well, this is what I hate. Like, we give up on guys after 1 year. And this is why we're always like, it takes time. And then people laugh at me when I say it. I'm like, this is the exact reason, jerks. Like, this is what I'm talking about. Like, everyone was ready to write off Jabari Smith in the beginning of the year last year. They're like, oh, he can't make a shot. Like, he's supposed to be this 3-point shooter, whatever. He looks like a damn monster that's about to be released out of a cage right now for his second year. Like, everyone right now is like, I wish we had Jabari. Like, this is going to be awesome. Eason, the same story where it's like, yeah, he looks like a guy that's going to be in his second year. He's been working his butt off. And now you might have been viewing his ceiling a little too low. You might have been like, there's more to his game. Confidence is the most important thing in the NBA for these players. Now they're starting to get some confidence. they're feeling fantastic after their summer league showing. We don't know. I mean, Metcalf said 6-man, and everyone might be like, it might happen because he has that versatility. He has the size. He's got the length. He's a defensive monster. You never know what could happen with these guys. And that's why I love seeing the sophomores at Summer League, because it is finding out like, whoa, they're on that path that we thought they were going to be last year. The same thing with this class that just came in. I'm going to be more excited to see them next year because there's going to be some stuff developing. And I just think Rockets fans, if that showing from Jabari and Eason, they both average north of 20 a game, and like absolutely awesome. Like it's fantastic. Whatever you think about Tari Eason, that's fine, but he's making a push to be a serious piece in this roster, and he's going to have a coach that's probably going to love what one of his best skill sets is, and that's the defensive side of the ball.
Absolutely. All right, let's move on to the Thunder guys, starting with Chet Holmgren. Yeah, so he's pretty fucking good.
Yeah. People were worried the first game in Utah, and I was like, I'm not worried, because for all the guys that look raw that just got drafted that haven't played live pickup for a while, well, Chet just added about 7 months to that. So yeah, I was expecting him to be real rusty. I texted you guys. I said, the moment in that first game he fell and got up like, okay, I'm all right. Then he started looking, he was running free. He looked great. Yeah, he's pretty damn good. I still think people forgot how awesome of a defensive prospect he is. I think he's a better defender than Victor. Screw it. I've been telling you that all year. I mean, you've been telling me that all year, and I was like, well, we'll keep that one in the chamber. Well, fuck it, it's out. I will go to my grave saying that. I think he's a better defender. He's a better defensive prospect. You're seeing it on display at Summer League. I think he's averaging 4 blocks a game.
I just have this block total, which is 14 over 4 games.
So well, I'll look it up, Metcalf. You give your thoughts. I'll look up his numbers.
I suppose I could just do, that's 3.5 blocks a game. Really high level math I just did there.
There you go.
Just wowing the listeners. No, he's the best. I think he is the best defensive center since Anthony Davis.
He's averaging 15 and 9 with 3.5 blocks. Yes, there you go. He hasn't shot a lot of threes.
I think 11, and he's only made 1.
Yeah, and they're close. Like, I've seen a couple that were ugly. We had one today or yesterday. The days are all blurred, but it was like in and out. He's getting a lot of people to bite on that 3. So he's getting a lot of people to bite, and then he's attacking, and that's developing. Sometimes it's been ugly. Sometimes he gets fouled a lot. Like I've said, I love how much he gets the line. He really does a good job. The feel's going to come back. You could already see it just blossoming in each game. He just had his best game. He looks really good. He looked very rusty in the first game in Utah. And like I said, fell down. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh, he's moving now. Like now he looks like that deer running around on the court. His defense is just so damn good. It's unbelievable, Metcalf.
Yeah,
it's just been great. Yeah,
no, but it's the same stuff that we saw at Gonzaga, where his ball location ability when he's blocking shots is second to none. Now, the summer league, he's been doing it with 2 hands a lot, and then he does it in rarely fouls. I mean, he has 11 fouls through summer league. That's Ochai Agbaji had that in 1 game.
11 fouls in 4 games.
Yeah. 14 blocks, 11 fouls, 4 games. That's insane. And then his positioning is so good that even when he doesn't get a block, he's steering guys into positions where they can't even get a shot off. And then his rim deterrence, where guys just have to snake all the way back out through the lane, back out to the perimeter, because they know he's there and they know that if he puts a shot up, he's going to get it. Victor has absolutely tremendous defensive upside because of his length and his size and what that affords him in terms of blocking shots. Chet's positioning and fundamentals and ball location and shot blocking, it's perfect right now. Well, I shouldn't say perfect, but it is about as damn near perfect as it could be for a player his age. I've never scouted a prospect who is as polished as he is on the defensive end at that position. Evan Mobley is the closest. And if Evan Mobley's getting Defensive Player of the Year votes in year 2, it wouldn't shock me if Chet Holmgren starts getting that consideration or all defensive team consideration in his rookie year.
I don't think that's crazy. Victor is a very, we won't go too crazy on this, but now that I let I let it out of the cage, we have to talk about it. Victor's a very special defensive prospect. Yes. He's still got times where I think he's out of position, but his length makes up for it. Why I think Chet puts himself a move ahead with those rotations, with understanding where it's going, with the communication. I mean, I sat courtside and watched him on the defense side of the ball, and I was like, this is one of the most impressive things I've seen when it comes to just barking out commands, understanding rotations, talking it all out. He's a damn quarterback back there telling everyone what to do. Just really intelligent. I think Chet looks great. I think he's not going to put up the numbers that Victor's going to put up because Chet's playing with a lot of mouths now. That team is stacked, and they're going to be really damn good next year. Yeah. I mean, I'm telling you, like, I would not shock me if OKC is just a problem to be dealt with. So I think Chet looked great. I really do. I think it was good for him to get knocked down and get back up and be like, okay, I'm all right. And I think he's played great. I think it's only going to get better with time, especially with that outside shot. Everything's going to start working itself out. But yeah, he's looked awesome.
Yeah, just the final kind of red flag with him, just so I'm not all gushy and loving towards Chet. His handle, he's kind of faced some of the similar issues that Victor has with the high handle, the being kind of surprised and caught off guard by how quick and accurate guards digging on their drives is. He's going to have to tighten it up. Again, at his size, there's only so much you can do, but if you're going to be doing stuff like that, you have to tighten it up to some extent. But yeah. What about Jalen Williams? Besides,
looks unbelievable. He rocks. He looks great. He's put on some weight. He looks like he's going to be the first game I watched, I was like giggling watching it. I was like, this looks like an 8-year NBA vet playing at Summer League. I was like, get him off the court. Like, don't even let him play the second half. He looks awesome. I don't know what award he's going to be up for, but he looks like he's going to win something. Like, that's how good he looks. I don't know. He looks awesome. I think he's understood what's so important is playing on the wing after you put up a big year. Now you're going to have a target. So he's like, I'm going to take on some more punishment. I got to be able to dish it out too. I thought J-Dub looks fantastic. Gosh, he looks good. It looks great.
Fully agree. Is this finally the Trey Mann breakout year?
The problem is I don't see how it isn't. Like, that's where you start getting to the point where they're just going to have a lot of different wrinkles to throw at you. And maybe it is. And maybe you could play Trey and Kaysen together. And maybe Kaysen's the defensive minded one. And Trey's they just got a lot of different ways they can go right now. And that's why I'm so excited about OKC is they have depth. You can rotate guys. Maybe Trey looks good and they move him at the deadline for a good piece. I don't know, but he looked fantastic at Summer League. He just looked like a guy that finally is like, damn, I got some confidence. Like, this is great. Like he's hitting it from outside. He's scoring all different ways. He had one of the nastiest posters of all time in Utah. I thought they were going to shut the game down. I mean, what did you think, Metcalf? You've been a big Trey Mann fan since he was a prospect. Are you impressed with where he's at? Do you think it's like, oh, I get it now? It's just one of those, like, guards take time. Like, they really do. I think some guys hit their stride later on than we expect.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm hoping for. It's been inconsistent, let's say, to be generous up until now. But I mean, 68.9 true shooting percentage, 68.2% from twos, 43% from three on 7.5 attempts a game. That's the type of scoring that I expected from him coming out. It's taken a little while, but I I'm hoping that this is kind of that leap year for him. The ball security hasn't been ideal with 16 turnovers total, 4 per game, but he's also got 14 assists, and I don't think he's going to necessarily be one of these true point guards where he's really running the show. But as a combo guard, if you can get him averaging, was that 3.5 assists a game, that's solid, especially if he's shooting 43% from three. It's that outside shot that has failed to really be super consistent with him. I've always thought he runs a really nice 2-man game, but he's failed to see the floor outside of that in terms of playmaking. I think we've seen a little more of a step in the right direction in the summer league with that. But again, it's mostly that 2-man game. And that alone can make you a really valuable 6th, 7th, 8th guy in a rotation. But it for him and for how skinny he still kind of is, I definitely think he's obviously added a lot of strength, but he's still just a lean guy. That shot has to be 40+% for him to get minutes, especially with how deep and versatile the ball handlers on this team are now.
Completely agree. What else you got? Hit me.
Ousmane Dieng looks good. I think,
looks great.
At that size, the skill, we've always said that it's going to take him a little bit to kind of develop, and it looks like he's kind of continuing to take those steps in the right direction.
It's the perfect developmental track that we set. Don't take this the wrong way, Thunder fans. Like, I think this is the perfect path. Now you just want him to get any minutes, like on a consistent level. And I'm not too worried about like, oh, Ousmane needs to come in and average 15 a game, because I don't think that's going to happen because of how talented their team is. But if he could come in and be like, oh, he's getting consistent minutes, he's in the rotation now, he's playing good defense, he's still so young that like, then all of a sudden you look up and maybe year 3, it's like, oh, we can't keep him off the court. Like that's the path I would expect with a young player like that he looked great. Don't get me wrong. Like that is such a big summer league showing from him. I would just say like looking at that summer league sample and being like, oh, this is now going to translate to the regular season. It's sometimes a little tougher than that. So it might just be, it's perfect. It's what you would dream of. Like my nightmare for Ousmane was he came into summer league and averaged 10 points a game and shot it terrible. I'd been like, oh gosh, we're going to be another year of what we just did. I think now it's a step in the right direction and you should be pretty pumped. So now it's what can you do to help the team? How can you earn minutes on this roster in a consistent level? And if I was him, I'd be like, play awesome defense. They will find a role for you. But I really do think big summer from him.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, let's move on to Shaedon Sharpe, who he looks like he's going to be a problem. I know the raw percentages right now.
No, throw the numbers
ideal.
out. I don't give a shit about the numbers. I'm watching what I watch.
I need to put it out there.
Okay.
But 36.8% from 2, 27.8% from 3. Not great. It doesn't align with the film, I don't think, at all. He looks like a problem.
Yeah, they're playing right as we're recording this, and he's got 12 on 4 of 10 with 2 rebounds, 2 assists. So here's the big... Oh, go ahead, Beckham.
No, just once Scoot went down too, he's also now the only offensive option on that team.
Here's the biggest thing. When I go to see the sophomores at Summer League, yes, it's nice to see their numbers improve. I want to see if you're putting an emphasis on areas of your game that weren't there last year. Jabari Smith of the Rockets did that, putting the ball in the mid-range, putting the ball on the ground, trying to get to the free throw line. I was like, check, check, check. Fantastic. Shaedon's percentages won't have anyone very pumped up out of their mind. He looks so much better. It's unbelievable. He looks under control. He looks smooth. The shots he's taking, like sometimes I'm like, okay, like, yeah, that's a tough shot. Most times I'm like, they're just not going in. He's had some playmaking stuff too, where I know me and you talked about it, but I was like, oh my gosh, if he's making those reads now, woo. So still incredibly young. I think this year should be a year which he just is like full push of minutes. Like he should be rolling. Oh man, I left Vegas just very excited for Shaedon Sharpe. I think he's going to be a problem. He had one transition dunk attempt that I watched him. He looked like he wanted to do like a Jordan highlight dunk, and he fumbled the ball like 3 times on the transition. And I was like, this ain't going to turn out good. And it just was ugly. But
it's really funny that he's botched a couple of like the wide open breakaway dunks and then has had some of the biggest posters of all summer league as well.
He looks like he's going to be a problem.
Do the dunk contest, you've coward.
No, he probably will. He looks really good. I think he looks just more of like, I know what I'm doing. He hit some shots where I was like, oh my gosh, if that's in it, like I'm not worried about Shaedon Sharpe. He looked great. That was one of those like I'm seeing the eye test. I see it. Don't tell me numbers. Yeah. I get it.
Well, one of my favorite episodes that you and I have done is when we had Jake Rosen on.
Yes.
And this was now 2 drafts ago, and really broke down his game. And one of the big things that Jake specifically brought up was how predetermined everything with Sharpe was. It didn't feel like that this year. It felt a lot more read and react, get a guy leaning, spin the other way, like adapting and improvising off the dribble, where it's not, okay, I'm going to catch, I'm going to drive left, I'm going to step back, then I'm going to take a pull up to my right, regardless of what the defender is doing. Now it's like, oh, okay, the defender reacted this way, now I'm countering with this. And, the shot didn't always go in, but he got a lot better looks. He created a lot more space. It was stuff where it's like, oh, this is what a 20 plus per game scorer moves like. This is what that type of guy creates like. And then you mentioned the playmaking improvements. The one specific aspect of that is, and he collapses the defense and gets to the rim almost whenever he wants to, kind of similar to Scoot, just given his athleticism. But now he's making those baseline kick out reads to the opposite corner. The accuracy isn't always there, but the fact that he's now looking for that on all of his drives and making that pass pretty frequently is really, really encouraging, because he's not just a one-trick pony when he goes to the rim now, where it's, all right, I'm going to try and finish over or through you. It's, okay, well, you're in a really good spot. You're going to block this. So now I'm contorting my body and making that kick out.
It's just like, that was beautiful. The point of the predetermined stuff, like it is freakish to transition that fast.
Yeah.
Like in 1 year, all of a sudden, like it was reactionary now. Like where it was stuff where I was like, man, you're reading it. You're understanding it. He was moving like a guy that's like, oh gosh, he's going to be 20 points per game one day. The drive and kick, like it's one of the biggest developments we saw at Vegas. I was just like, oh my gosh, like now they have 2 guys that are willing to throw this pass. And I'm not trying to like slander Dame or anything. I'm just saying like Scoot has that athleticism to pull the gravity of a defense. Now he can kick it out. Shaedon Sharpe has that same exact stuff. So you have that mentality of your potential 1 and 2 being able to do that. It's going to make life for your surrounding players just awesome. Shaedon just did a lot of stuff that I was like, my goodness. Like, not, I hate to be like, oh, well, just can't wait for year 3, but I'm just talking about the development, like how much he improved from one offseason. Now look at what he's going to do each year. He's going to be awesome. I just was so pumped. I went to Vegas like, oh gosh, am I going to get let down by Shaedon? Because I just had such high hopes. And then I went there and I was like, man, yes, like this is everything you want to see. And that's why I do think sometimes it's more important than a guy going out there and having 25 a game and shooting 45% from 3. I think it's more important to be like, you're getting it. You understand this is a process and you got to build the parts of your games and you're getting it. And just awesome from Shaedon Sharpe. I think going to be a stud.
Yeah. And I think the numbers in summer league can obviously be really misleading for what a guy's play actually looks like, because I don't, like you said, I don't care. I mean, obviously, when a guy goes out and drops 28, it's awesome. I like that stuff. But in the end, I don't really care if the process was bad. As long as the process is good in terms of, have they actually improved different aspects of their game? Are they getting into different stuff? Are they taking tougher shots? Are they making more advanced passing reads? Are they a little more difficult to deal with on the ball? That's where it's like, okay, yes, they are in all of this. And if they're a little less efficient, okay, that's fine, but they're taking steps in the right direction. someone else who's taken a step in the right direction, Max Christie.
I need you to go. I need you to have your moment because you never stop. You can't stop fight. You can't stop loving you. That's exactly what Tyler Metcalf has been about Max Christie. I was behind it, so I'm gonna let you have your moment.
No, so I ended up with Christie in the lottery last year. Obviously a long-term play there because he didn't really play last year at all, and for a lot of reasons. But he looks big. He looks stronger. He looks more athletic. He's challenging guys at the rim on both ends of the floor. The shot looks good. The scoring consistency has been there. There's been an improvement in his passing reads. The defense is still really good. It was awesome at Michigan State. And now that he's stronger and has a little more pop to his game, it's even taken another leap. I don't see a world where he doesn't get really good minutes this year, especially in the regular season when the Lakers don't really care about their seeding as long as they get to the playoffs. I'm not saying he's going to be some playoff game changer, but during the regular season, this dude should be getting a lot of minutes.
He looked like a guy that said, to hell with that, I'm playing next year, and worked his ass off and trust the process. And I mean, he looks awesome. I thought he looked fantastic from California Classic to Summer League to we watched him in person. I was like, man, he looks great. It's just the mentality. He's getting to the hoop. He's bigger. He's worked on his body. They're gonna have to put him in the rotation. You got to figure out a spot. He looks great. He looks like he's gonna do everything he can to get minutes. And I'm still buying shot long term. Like you forever were just hammering it away of like the defense and the shot are going to come around. He's going to be a good defender. And I was like, yeah, those are two areas. If you buy into him, that coming around, everything around it is usually pretty, I don't want to say easy, but it's a better path to getting all the other stuff to come along with it. And I think you're seeing that where like you pointed out at the end of his rookie year when he was playing some minutes with the big club, you're like, man, his defenses look nice. Like he's looked legit. And those are the guys that I absolutely love to see at Summer League because he had one game at California and he looked awesome. And I was like, buckle up. Yeah. Now this is going to be really fun because if he puts two together, the confidence is going to be pouring. And it happened. And I was like, oh gosh. And he did some stuff in Vegas where I was like, my goodness, Lakers got one. They got another one. And I'm very excited to see what he can do with them. And I hate saying that about the Lakers, but I'm very excited for Max Christie. It's just cool. It's cool to see that. Like, I thought he was a preseason top 20 guy, didn't live up to it, had a tough year, went later, kept working his ass off, trusted the Lakers, trusted himself. I think it's going to pay off in a big way.
Yeah, and just to circle back on some numbers, I mean, 16 assists to 7 turnovers, 43% from 2, 60% from 3 on 15 attempts, obviously unsustainable. But then you look at the free throw numbers, 22 of 23 from the line. He's going to shoot it. And just the leap he's taken as a pick and roll creator, as a defender, as an athlete, I just think it's really, really, really exciting stuff unless you hate the Lakers.
Moving on.
Yeah.
no, I mean, Shadow Lakers fans, you had a good draft, and I'm very excited for Christie. I think he's going to be having a big year.
All right, let's move on to the Pistons, who have a handful of returners, notable returners. Jalen, Duren, Jaden, Ivey, James Wiseman. Where do you want to start?
Ivey, give me your thoughts.
Not great. They seem to have made it a point to put the ball in his hands and have him run a lot of point and be that primary creator. I don't love the process of it. I mean, 14 assists to 10 turnovers, not awful. But it feels like the ball's sticking a lot. It feels like he's over dribbling a lot. The speed and processing and decision making isn't necessarily there. So it's underwhelming for me.
It looks like this is a tough one because it looks like they're trying to focus on developing one part of his game
Yes.
And I would have rather them been like, hey, Jaden, go do your thing, man. And he put up 26 a game and they shut him down fast.
Like,
But
I would have almost rather had them go out there, use him more as that 2 guard, and let Sasser and Asar run more point than him.
that probably would have made more sense. He had 2 games. He averaged 18 a game, shooting splits of 41, 26, 80 with 4 rebounds, 7 assists, and 3.5 steals. So you guys are probably like, what the hell are you guys talking about? It looked awesome. It's just, I watched the game and I was like, man, he's not doing anything. And then all of a sudden, I feel like I might have even gone to the other gym in like the third quarter. And I looked down at my phone and I was like, he has 20. Wow. But I know that's what Ivey did ever since Purdue. It was just all of a sudden a snap and it was just, he's cooking. I just thought there was a lot of times where I was like, they're trying to have him run the sets and then kind of pushing him away. And I was like, I want Ivey to go get the ball. Like, I want them to have him trying to get 20 or 30 points. But I understand if they're trying to create that. So it's like, hey, once he's with Cade, they're cooking. I don't know.
Yeah,
fine. I still love Ivey. I'm not too worried. It was just like, I would have loved if he did something else. So whatever.
It just kind of circles back to that idea of the numbers can be great, but the process necessarily isn't. And it didn't feel natural. A lot of it felt really forced and uncomfortable. I just would have liked to see the ball popping a little more. And just that processing speed up a little bit. So maybe this will be good for him because it kind of throws him into the fire and forces him to start making those reads a little quicker. So I'm still in on Ivey. This isn't like oh my God, Jaden Ivey sucks now.
No,
it just feels like kind of an awkward process.
Yeah, I'm still all the way in. I was just like, yeah, okay. I can't have everyone look awesome. And he's like, his numbers look great.
Mm-hmm.
I just was like, thought they could have been bigger. But watching him on the games, I was like, can we just give him the ball and let him go to work? And then it was like they were trying to prioritize him playmaking. And I was like, so go ahead.
Jalen Duren, talk to me.
I'm also remembering now, like the Pistons used to do, like trying to play Killian Hayes and Ivey and stuff. So like maybe that makes sense. Their summer league team just gets a little wacky.
Yeah.
Jalen Duren. Hold on to that monster. He looks great. He had a relocation 3. I almost had a heart attack. He looks like there's some really fun stuff developing. I feel like he showcased some footwork stuff. He showed a new look that took a while for me to understand without like the cornrows and stuff. So he's got the buzz cut. I'm trying to look at his numbers. He's got 14 and 6. Does that seem right? No? Yes? That can't be right. Did he have a game where he went nuts? Hold, please, folks. We're at a hold.
And he's only made 16 field goals.
Okay. Well, then maybe that's right. I think he had a 20 and 10 game. So maybe he had 2 others. I think he looks good. Really excited for how young he is and how tall he is. We also went to a meet and greet for shout out through the wire guys, and the Enjoy Basketball guys were there too. And Whitmore and Duren were there to get do the live pod. And Duren's very tall. Corey made a joke. He also dresses like most people that are still in high school, where it's like the hoodie matches the shoes. It was great. He had like some red Jordans on with the red hoodie. It's fantastic. So yeah, big Duren guy. I was a fan. I think he's on the right path. Looks really fun. Those are also tough because he's playing with Wiseman,
who
he's
going to play with this year.
Yeah, who's on the path to prove himself contract year. So Wiseman's trying to put up some big numbers in summer league, and I feel like Duren, you just got to focus on what's developing. And I mean, the fact that he took a relocation 3, I was like, oh my gosh, and he made it, which was crazy. But yeah, I'm pumped for Duren. I think he's just gonna be a stud there.
Yeah. I think we're kind of starting to see some more of that passing stuff that was really intriguing in college from him too. But let's talk about Wiseman. the rare year 4 summer league guy. Kind of feels like a make or break year for him. I think you're a little warmer on him than I am. What have been your takeaways?
He's puzzling because I even talked to some Pistons fans. Shout out Bryce. And I was like, hey, what do you think of Wiseman? And I feel like every Pistons fan's got to sit there. It's like, and it's just like, I'm watching him in those games. I'm like, someone will pay this. Like, someone will pay for this. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I'm just like, he will get a contract. He's playing so damn hard. There's some predetermined stuff. But there's some stuff where I'm like, you could tell why he was a top pick. There's the upside stuff where I'm just like, he's dunking on people. He's talking some shit. I'm rooting for the kid because he's still so raw. Like,
yeah.
But that's
the concern.
Yeah, it's just such a weird fit. And bigs do click at really weird times. It's just tough for him because I feel like he's trying to do so much so fast to prove he's worthy. I don't know if it's going to happen with the Pistons. Obviously, them re-signing Isaiah Stewart. It's like, okay, what are we doing? No, I would say I like the Isaiah Stewart extension, but it's like, what are they going to do with Wiseman? Are they just trying to, sell him for top dollar around the deadline? I don't know, but I'm rooting for him. And he was playing his ass off. And I just look around and I'm like, I would at least think some team would pay him because there's worse guys, but you never know. You really never know. What about you, Metcalf? Yeah, here we go. Here we go.
It's year 4 and he's in summer league. He should be dropping 35, 15, and 5 blocks a game.
But it's year 4, but it's like year 2 for him. Like, he got hurt.
It's like year 3 for him.
No, he didn't play his first one. He got hurt second, whatever. He got hurt one.
Okay.
Whatever. Give me a break.
I want him to be good. I'm rooting for him. It's just his developmental curve has been so disrupted at so many different spots that he just, like, every step forward he takes, he gets knocked back like 3. And it sucks because the athleticism and the size is really, really freakishly impressive. And that alone should give you so much to work with. But the processing just doesn't seem to be there. And defensively, he seems a step late. I like his on-ball stuff. I thought was fine. Is more so the rotation stuff. Then when he would attack off the dribble, everything was predetermined. Like what we just talked about with Shaedon Sharpe, it's the exact opposite, where when he gets a guy leaning one way, he then for some reason Euro stepped into the guy. Like against I think it was, I'm blanking on who it was against, but he had one like he faced up at like the top of the key, drove right, kind of Euro step to his right, and then the defender moved the other way, and then Wiseman stepped back into the defender, even though they moved out of the way. It's like, what are you doing, my guy? Like, you have a layup here, or, a pull up or a floater, like something uncontested, and you're making it harder because you decided 5 seconds ago that this was going to be the move that you wanted to take. So the optimistic view is that he's out there trying different moves to, figure out his footwork and figure out tough shot making and all that kind of stuff. But at this stage in his career, I know it's been super disrupted by injuries and whatnot, and that sucks. It's put him behind the 8 ball. But at this point, he should be going out there and dominating, especially given how freakish and impressive his athletic tools are.
I understand. I completely understand with what you're saying. Okay, hit me. Let's go on.
All right, we got to rip the Band-Aid off. I haven't seen much of him, but talk to me about my sweet prince, Johnny Davis.
Oh man, this is gonna hurt. So it's gonna require me to go down a deeper rabbit hole. I went and watched him against the Celtics. I was like, hey, Celtics versus Johnny. I can't pass this up. Jordan Walsh versus Johnny Davis. That's the real main attraction, not Victor Wembanyama. They're playing at the same time. Catch up, folks. Come on. He looks better, but the shot does not. And I've watched him at the end of the last year, and I was like, did they tinker with the shot? which always scares me when they do that. I feel like Memphis did it with my boy Brandon Clark. And one year I was like, oh gosh, he can't ever shoot again. And I get so scared when these teams tinker with it, where it's like they try to rehaul something or overhaul something. And Johnny's like the elbows getting out wide. It just doesn't look as smooth as it did when he was at Wisconsin. So I'm a little nervous about that because as good as he looked at times, it still comes back to that shot.
Yeah.
And like the shot wasn't like, oh, it's, he's Reggie Miller from outside out of college, but I still was at a point where I was like, it's not horrendous. Like, right. I think it's fine, but now it just seems like it's a little, I don't know. So I'm a little nervous.
Hate
nervous.
That.
Yeah, hate that.
Well,
but the problem is like he's still making Johnny Davis plays.
Right.
Making good plays on defense, making good rotations, making good passes, making good like backdoor attacking the basket. And then I just get the shot and I'm like, what do we do here? What are we thinking? Who did this? Are they with the organization still? No, I'm kidding. But I'm rooting for him. It was tough. And it's one of those things where I'm just going to have to keep watching. And yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm still holding out hope.
I hope you watch and tell me I was wrong.
Yeah. Or the next couple of weeks, I'll have to go back through some of the stuff. I just haven't had the time or, just scheduling. But someone did see live who looked so much fun. Peyton Watson. Oh boy.
Oh, man, I'm so in love. So in love with Peyton Watson as a basketball player. Was that the first game? No, we watched someone and then he was the second game. Okay. And it did not take long for all of us to be holding each other like, oh gosh, it's happening. Shout out McLovin. No, he looked unbelievable. And he looks like such a fun weapon. And he looks like he's got that mentality of like, I'm going to run through a wall. If the Nuggets want me to this year, I'll do anything. He had some big blocks. I think that was the game Andre Jackson blocked him twice.
Yeah.
But he also had some big blocks in that game. He had some dunks. He just kept coming after you. He was attacking. He was doing everything. He was playmaking. Peyton Watson looked awesome. I think he looks fantastic. Did they shut him down early, Metcalf?
It looks like it. He's only played 2 games.
Yeah, so it was very quick. I think he skyrocketed up my leaderboard for the Too Good for Summer League very quickly. I mean, he's probably in the top 7 at least, but what did you think of him? Is it right on schedule for you? Is it just like, oh, I even thought the shot looked fine. I thought the shot looked better. It looked okay. Yeah. Not great, but we're getting there.
The defense was like, holy shit.
Maniacal. It was
the rim protection, the on-ball stuff. He was talking shit to guys. He would wall a guy off and then get in his face and then go down on the other end and make a beautiful kick-out pass. I love that they put the ball in his hands a lot to kind of create on offense, because that was what was so exciting for me about him as a prospect when he was coming out of high school. It's like, holy crap, this dude is an awesome passer. And then at UCLA, his role was what it was. I don't think he's ever going to be the big time scorer or whatever, but I think long term, it wouldn't surprise me if he slides into that Aaron Gordon role of being that kind of ball handling, playmaking, defensive focused forward who can occasionally knock down a catch and shoot 3. It also wouldn't surprise me if this next year he slides into that Bruce Brown role and does a lot of that off the bench, pseudo point guard, defensive monster stuff. Obviously Bruce Brown's shot is at a much better place than Peyton Watson's is right now. But I think just simply off the catch, keeping it simple, wide open stuff, which he'll get playing in that Denver system, I think there's a lot there to get really excited about. I think he's going to be one of the breakout guys this year.
You just sit there and we're watching him and you're like, the defending champs are going to let this animal run wild. And he's going to do some stuff on the court that, like, Bruce Brown's awesome. I love Bruce Brown. And I always think that those guys are so underappreciated.
Mm-hmm.
But now we're going to get this potential hair on fire, 6'9", with length and terrifying playmaking and incredibly bouncy weapon version of Bruce Brown that, yeah, the shot needs to come around, but I love Peyton Watson as a prospect because I was just like, that 1 year did not tell me the story. And when I saw his flashes, I saw him in person and I was like, he would play like 5 minutes and he'd come in and be like, immediately the first possession at UCLA would be like block, layup, steal. I was like, the dude's played 4 possessions. He's made a play every play. So I just think Denver is going to look really smart because he has the tools to be a headache for another team because he can do a lot of stuff. And I do think that shot will come around on a respectable level. And if it does, pray for mercy. He looked so good. So yeah. Who else? Go ahead.
Okay, let's just hit these last couple kind of rapid fire. I haven't seen a ton of them, but you, I think you've seen a little more of them.
Yeah, I have a disease.
Take them in whatever order or whatever you want. Bennedict, Mathurin, David Roddy, Drake LaRavia, Ochai, Agbaji.
Roddy is one of the ones that impressed me the most at Summer League. I've watched him a couple games, and I was not expecting it. He looks like he understands what his role is going to be this year. He's playing very smart. I've looked at his numbers. I know like the percentages might not back up, but he looks like he's going to be this big-bodied guy that's like, I'm going to hit the outside shot. I'm going to play good defense. I'm going to play smart basketball. I'm not going to make things too difficult. I know my role. And I think Roddy looks like a guy that's going to earn some minutes this year. He's humongous in person in a good way, like just in good shape. Like he knows how to throw his weight around. He knows how to draw contact. He just knows a lot of the sneaky stuff where I'm like, hey, this might be your backup to Desmond Bane. And it's really awesome. LaRavia looks like another guy that is going to have a solid year of earning some minutes. And then all of a sudden that third year might be going like, oh gosh, that contract's going to be nice. He's going to pull in. Like he just smart player again. Memphis is doing a good job with getting some young guys ready to rock. And I'm not saying, they're going to be studs this year, but we might look up by the end of the year and be like, they're going to play in the playoffs. They're going to play good minutes. They're going to be important pieces. I was very impressed with Roddy. And it was a guy that I was kind of all over the place as a prospect. I was like, is it going to work? And now I'm like, oh, he's going to be smart. He's going to know when to get to the line and he's going to space the floor and play good defense. So, yeah, I'm in. Mathurin.
Yeah, talk to me about Mathurin because going into the draft, I was a little lower on him and still obviously lottery guy, but it felt like a lot of people were seeing Vince Carter out of him, and I saw more Tim Hardaway Jr. We talked about kind of the changes and adaptations that like guys like Shaedon Sharpe and Max Christie made to their games this year, and from the limited stuff that I've seen from Mathurin, it doesn't really feel like he's taken those same steps.
I watched COVID's games. And for everyone listening, like I was a humongous Mathurin believer. Played at Arizona. I didn't think it was fake. I was just like, there's a lot of his game I absolutely love. I think I even had him top 6. The shot selection has me a little scared.
Is it that he's just taking tough shots because he's always done that, or is it the fact that he's trying to create different stuff, failing at it, and still shooting?
Probably that. Okay. It looks like a guy
he's always taken tough stuff that's depleted as percentages.
Yes,
but that's not the real reflection of how good of a shooter he is.
It's some early shot clock stuff, which like I know he'll do, but he's usually pretty smart about it. It looked like a guy that was trying to shoot his way to being pulled from Summer League. And there's nothing wrong with that. It just looked like and And then every time I got frustrated, he'd come down and have an unbelievably gorgeous pick and roll and throw like a dime for a dunk. And I'd be like, there's the Mathurin I know. So I think it was maybe him just trying to be like, I'm going to go out and put up 30, which is fine. I understand. You're a second-year summer league guy. You're trying to tell everyone you're the guy. It looks like he was just trying to force it a little too much. And when he let the game come to him, I was like, there he is. So I don't know. I'm not too overly worried about it. It was just kind of like a but that's also like maybe they're trying to do that to kind of get him ready to roll for the next upcoming year. Maybe that's why Detroit was trying to put Ivey in a playmaking only situation.
Sure.
Mathurin, I'm not worried about. He's going to be a bucket. Halliburton's going to run the offense. And there was plenty of good that I was just like, questionable shot. And then there was plenty of good stuff, but it's what you said, Metcalf. He's always been a tough shot maker. And maybe just a couple games I watched, it didn't happen. We'll see. What else? What other one did you have?
Talk to me about Ochai.
I'm loving Ochai. I just, everything I've seen this summer, Ochai's ready to be he's going to be a rotation player for years to come. And I saw him I love Ochai. He's right on path. Utah, as good as Keontae was, I think Ochai's consistent play year 2, it's going to be awesome. And then I think year 3, you might see like the numbers are really on a more consistent level all over the place. Because I think he's just playing tough. We know how streaky he was at Kansas, but like when he gets hot, he gets really hot, and he's tenacious with rebounding and stuff. I think Utah's. I thought they were going to be a team that looked like they're taking a step back. It would not shock me if Utah's maybe a baby step forward this year. I don't know. They got a lot of pieces.
All right, Rucker. Anyone that we missed? Any burning thoughts or desires from these players or summer league in general, or the upcoming summer that you need to get off?
I'm trying to think of it. I feel like I might have missed some names?
Oh, I'm sure we missed plenty.
Orlando Robinson looks like he will deserve that contract. That's awesome. Hold on. I'm running through. I'm pretty pumped about your boy Wendell Moore Jr.
You would be the only one among.
I just think there's going to be some path where he earns a role. I haven't talked about Dyson Daniels because I need to watch more of him before I feel confident about talking about him.
Oh, just in case you missed this, Trace Jackson Davis in his summer league debut, 14 points, 7 rebounds, 6 of 9 shooting. Not bad.
He also looked very slow. I watched the first quarter. He looked very slow. He looks like he just looked very like, I have no conditioning, blah, blah, blah. I also think they broke the news like 5 minutes before tip, like, update, he's now starting. So I wonder if it was just like, oh gosh, he hasn't
played it.
Yeah, he hasn't played at all. Caleb Houston looked intriguing, made some really nice passes when we saw him in person. He still looks like he's just every time I see Caleb Houston, I'm like, gosh, he's bigger than I thought. And we even joked about that. Jalen Springer looks like better, but the shot I need to come around, but he looks much better. I think he's still like 15 years old. A name that I want to shout out that we did not, returner, and I'm done. Jabari Walker. Sorry. I'm reading my preview piece and I saw Jabari Walker of the Portland Trailblazers. I was so impressed. He's going to figure out a way to be a piece of this roster. He just looks on the right path. He was lengthy. He was making plays. I really, really was intrigued. Yeah, so I liked what I saw from him. And then Keegan Murray. We have to give Keegan Murray a shout out. He played 2 games in Sacramento, gave the fans what he wanted, was a monster, my guy. I got nothing else, Mike. I mean, I'm excited for all of this. I think the last 2 draft classes we're going to be pretty spoiled. It was tough talking to a lot of people in the stand or around the NBA this week. Be like, hey, like anyone at 24? Nope. Oh, shit. And I was like, neither do I. So, but hey, we're going to give it's going to be an awesome year because I'm covering every single person I can. I'm going to go scout everyone I can. Like, I think it's going to be a really fun scouting year. So Might be tough for fans, but it's gonna be fun for no ceilings. I'm pretty pumped about that. But
Yeah, and that just means that we're gonna have to dig a little deeper and find those diamonds in the rough that pop up in every draft cycle. Some of the boards next year are going to be wild. I feel like these last
let's
2
just
years.
BS it about it right now. Let's BS
Sure.
for 5 minutes. But okay, awesome. This is great. All right. I tried to do this 5 times in Vegas with the No Ceilings crew, and they all the conversations got cut short. And I was like, son of a gun, I need like a powwow for a while, but we'll just do this. I don't know who my top 5 will not be what everyone else's top 5 is. I feel like there's some guys that everyone the boards I've seen are on the line. I'm saying like I don't feel good about that guy there. I don't know. Where are you at? There's wild cards galore. There's returners.
I think it's going to be a big year for returners. Like I was skeptical about the Donovan Clingan stuff. He's probably going to be preseason top 10. I think Tyrese Proctor preseason top 10. I think a guy like Trey Alexander is going to be pretty easily first round. I think even a guy like my boy KJ Adams might sneak into the first round. I think there's a really high possibility that it's an incredibly underwhelming freshman class, at least from the standpoint of the guys at the top of the recruiting rankings not showing what we expect guys with those rankings to show. And that's not necessarily their fault, but I think people's first rounds are going to look wildly different.
Yeah. The Ignite's going to be really interesting. Mm-hmm. I'm going to try to go see them a couple times this year because of the roster, but they have a lot of names. A lot of names I'm excited about besides the 2 big dogs. Mm-hmm. I don't have. Oh wait, I do have my 24 database because I'm a psychopath.
Yeah, I have 167 names down right now.
Darlan, I'm going to mess everyone's name up, but Darlan for the G League Ignite, I'm excited to see. Babacar Sane, I'm excited. Who's the kid that just reclassified to go to North Carolina? Elliot.
Yeah.
Cadell or whatever. If I butcher everyone's name, I'm sorry. I'm really pumped to see him. Although he's a little undersized, but like you there's every single guy I could think in the top 10. I got questions about.
Like big questions.
Big questions. Holland, I feel like I'd be more comfortable taking him at 8 than I am at 1. Buzelis, I don't know. I got a lot of questions about Buzelis. Probably saw one of his worst games, so I'm not going to book it off on one game, but I need to see a lot for a number 1 pick. Not there. Collier for USC. Love the mentality. Love how hard he plays. He's going to be an asshole on the court. Like, he's going to be really tough. He's going to put up big numbers. But is he going to put up big numbers in a bad class? And who knows? If the shot comes around, yeah, he's probably going to be in the running for that. But we'll see. The playmaking's got to come around. I just got questions everywhere, and it's tough. I don't know.
Yeah, and like it's a great year for guys who aren't the top 5 recruits to potentially sneak in there. Like a guy like Omaha Baloo, who we both are huge fans of. He still has his warts. He's still super raw, but really, really intriguing. And you even go further down and look at guys like Scotty Middleton, Jackson Shellstad. There's a lot to really get excited about, or at least intrigued by, just looking at the freshmen when you get out of that kind of top 5 range, because the numbers, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, those guys aren't the typical 1 through 5 recruits. And that's not to dog them necessarily, because if they had like a 9 next to their name instead of a 4, they'd probably be like, oh, I like this guy. Like we talked about Justin Edwards like that when we were at Hoop Summit. He was the number 1 recruit, and we're like, is he really a number 1 guy? But now he's like 4. And it's like, ooh, kind of like in Justin Edwards, which just shows how dumb we are. Or at least I am.
No, I mean, when we were there and we saw him, I used to love Justin Edwards, but when we saw him there, I was like, I would like to see a little more from number one guy.
Yeah.
And then I saw some stuff defensively, and I was like, oh my gosh, okay, I might be in on that.
Incredibly smart defender.
But I'm looking just like I've got a ton of names already written down, and I just look around and I'm like, man, who is it? Like, because it's gonna be a breakout sophomore that throws their name, or
it's gonna be a sophomore.
It's gonna be whatever returner, whatever you want to say. Don't come at me. But like I loved Omaha, and then now it's kind of slowed down. Risha Share, I wanted it to be him. I don't think it's gonna be him. I hope I'm
can't
wrong.
be in FIBA's final and take one shot and score 0 points.
No. AJ Johnson's the sleeper. Corey's been pumping that a little bit. I saw a little bit of stuff and I went, oh gosh, Corey might be onto something. The international class has a ton of dogs. Ade Mara, I want to find out. I'm tired of those UCLA rumors. I almost think it doesn't matter. I still think he should be pretty high up. It's just wild.
I think the Spain guys are a really smart group to keep an eye on. Like Ade Mara, Baba Miller looked awesome.
Oh my gosh, he looks so much better.
He looks so good.
We talked about it in Vegas. I said, oh gosh, he looks so much better. Go ahead.
Eason Almansa, I'm not in love with him, but he looked really good at FIBA too, enough where it's like, should we take a first round flyer on this guy or top 20 flyers? Like, why not? If he keeps showing what he showed. I'm not sure on when he's eligible, but Jordi Rodriguez, I'd be like, let's take a fucking top 15 pick on this dude. His versatility, his scoring, his playmaking, his basketball IQ. It's like he looks awesome. So whether it's returners or some kind of deeper international names, I think those are kind of more of the guys to keep a closer eye on than maybe some of the more traditional big name high school recruits.
Yeah, I mean, Briley Kugels, we haven't mentioned him. He's going to be a big riser. Almansa's, he wouldn't shock me if he goes and does some real nice stuff with Ignite. But that team is going to be so stacked. It's going to be really interesting from a developmental perspective. I think there's a chance that it is going to be a really strong international class. If you want to consider like, Almansa is going to play with the Ignite, where I'm like, okay, well, he was with Spain, so I don't know, but like there's some talent overseas that could make this really interesting, really fast. I don't know. I'm just wild class, folks. Just a wild class. Like it really, I'm looking at everything and, I think we've been spoiled lately.
Yes.
And I'm scared we're about to get the level out class. Like, let's level it out a little bit, but it might be also one of those classes where you could get some depth pieces that are nice. Mm-hmm. But I think if you're right now, I'd be scared getting a top 2 pick.
Yeah, but we said the same thing about Anthony Edwards' class, and
No, I said Anthony Edwards was a damn dog from the beginning. But I know what you mean. Like, I'll say it. I'm not high on DJ Wagner.
Neither am I.
No, I think we talked about it.
I think I'm a little more intrigued than you are, but not to the point where I want a top 5 pick on him.
Yeah, no, I don't see it at all. I'll go down swinging on that one. I talked to you guys in Portland about it. So I don't see it at all. I've watched. I don't see it. And then I watched the whole week of practice. I was like, I don't see the top 5 pick on DJ Wagner. Hope I'm wrong.
Yep.
Going to the right place to prove me wrong. I know that.
And a lot of basketball left to be played.
Oh, for sure. And there's going to be some transfers. Me and you are still Roddy Gale mania. I just don't know. It's crazy to look at some of these. Like, I just keep filling out these names and I'm like, who's gonna be the one that pops? So now I'm just trying to delay it. Part 2 is great. I love this. This is great.
All right. Well, we'll have plenty of more 2024 preseason stuff throughout the summer coming for all of you. But he is Tyler Rucker at Tyler_Rucker. I'm Tyler Metcalf at Team Metcalf11. You can find all of our work at NoCeilingsNBA.com. It's 100% free, and you can follow us across all socials at NoCeilingsNBA. If you enjoyed this episode, please make sure to subscribe, leave a review, and 5-star rating. Till next time, see ya.